In most of the Magic Find videos, you'll hear me hammer home the concept of don't forget the rares, and I usually go into more detail after hitting that tagline. The reality is, there are items of all types that are exceptionally useful, but most people put on their item class blinders and focus on the uniques, sometimes the sets, and ignore most other things unless they're charms, jewels, runes, or jewelry, and sometimes they even actually ignore the jewelry. The reality is, rare and even magic items are sometimes the strongest in their slot or have the potential to be the strongest in their slot. So today, for part 1 of Don't Forget the Rares miniseries, we're going to talk about what rare items you should always be picking up, which ones you should sometimes pick up, and which ones you can just ignore. In a future episode, we will be doing the same for magic items while explaining their rather special benefits as well. First, the must-grabs. The most obvious rare items you should be picking up, as you can tell from the intro, are of course amulets and rings, though these are fairly straightforward since both these items can get bonuses that rival even the best uniques, with both item groups being able to get great stats like faster cast, plus attributes, resistances, leech, etc., not to mention the amulet ability to get plus skills. Obviously, like jewelry, you should also be picking up circlets and, well, their upgrades, coronets, tiaras, and diadems. These have a lot of modifiers available to them, even more so than amulets and rings, since they can also have modifiers that are usually reserved for very specific pieces of equipment like damage boost, run walk speed, leech, cast rate, etc. that can be fairly hard to find on helmets themselves. The unexpected rares, though, that most people miss are going to be things like your gloves. These can be exceptionally powerful for Amazons and assassins since they can get plus skills, but also rare gloves have a lot of good mods ranging from resists, leech, faster attack rate, etc. that can spawn on them, making them better than uniques or even set items for a lot of builds, even with Laying of Hands being as powerful as it is for boss killing. The only real competition in a lot of cases is going to be your crafted gloves with blood and hit power gloves, giving unique features that the rares can't get, while still having access to a reduced number of, but the same pool of rare mods. Last but not least in the must-grabs are going to be your class-specific and class-boosting items. Some are a bit more important than others. Personally, my must-grabs are wands, druid pelts, necroheads, assassin katars, and sorceress orbs. All of these can get modifiers that can rival or beat uniques and sets in some cases in their class, some more commonly than others, but these are always worth the check, with the most commonly recognized versions being the +5 items, such as druid pelt with +2 all skills and +3 tornado, or katars with +2 assassin skills and +3 lightning sentry, both being exceptionally valuable, but there are similar things for pretty much every class. Though there are also alternative perks to these as well, especially with the katars, where you can be looking for other mods, such as Fool's Katars for Blade Fury builds, which give a massive attack rating and damage boost to your, well, Blade Fury. There are similar things for the other class items as well. This is just the easiest example. On the sometimes pickup list, we have a similar situation, but with items that either only come with up to par stats and basically compared to uniques and rune words, or are of only niche use if they're exceptionally good. This includes the rest of the class-specific and class-boosting items like rare paladin shields, barbarian helmets, scepters, Amazon weapons, etc. These all can get some fun mods and can be exceptionally powerful ones for niche use for very specific builds, such as some +5 barb helms, some fun albeit expensive scepter combos, good natural roll Amazon and paladin items, since they get special bonuses for those items on top of being rare, such as resistances or enhanced damage on the paladin shields, or plus all of a branch, like entire branch of the skill tree for the Amazons. So you can end up with, say, +5 or all javelin skills, for example, on an Amazon javelin. But in the end, you're kind of hard-pressed to beat an Exile Paladin shield with a rare, or a Titans with Amazon's javelins, or an Ariat's Face with barbarian helmets. So you're still going to have that kind of competition there. They're still worth picking up for potentially some fun stuff or for specific builds, but just not as high of priority as, say, the magic versions of these, or plain for rune words, and unique items in the same category. Also on the sometimes pickup list, although at a little bit lower, are the exceptional and elite belts. I don't bother picking up normal ones unless I really feel like upgrading them, but they're often best for melee characters since you can get some nice combinations of faster hit recovery, resists, and some other token mods. They're only sometimes pick up thanks to uniques like String of Ears and Blade Buckle being a thing, and also the reality that casters are going to prefer crafted belts or Arachnid's Mesh, so the rare belts only come close enough with maybe some extra resist or stats when compared to the other options that can't quite cover all the bases. Similarly, boots are on my sometimes list, though they were really close to being on the always pickup list since they can give you some good resist along with faster run walk, magic find, stats, etc. They just can't replace some uniques in some common builds. That said, for casters, they can be your top pick if you're wanting to hit some resist, but there's enough unique boots with special features that you may want to get those resists elsewhere. Boots are definitely on the cusp between always and sometimes pick up depending on your personal preferences for what you want in your boots and what kind of classes you commonly play. Last rare on the sometimes list would be only what I can call weapons of choice, and they're at the very bottom of the sometimes list, only reaching this mark because they can be a lot of fun. For example, I always check crystal swords for ethereal rares with good stats so I can turn them into ethereal phase blades of some power. I also like picking up daggers for maybe one day finding a fun dagger for a poison stabber, but I've yet to find what my ideal one would be, usually just favoring uniques as it stands right now. I can honestly say though, picking up rare weapons has turned up some interesting gems, to put it nicely, but the reality is they're not going to usually be more useful than their unique or rune word counterparts. They're even actually going to be outclassed by some set items, thanks to mods like Crushing Blow, Reduced Resistances, Aura, Skills, Chance to Cast, etc., and generally fall into the novelty category or niche build category. As you can see by these rares that I've been showing you, the potential is there for fun things, they just can't quite get up to snuff with other options, usually when unique modifiers are considered. That leaves the ignore list. Things like body armors, helmets, normal shields, any weapons not on your personal choice list, while they can still be good as stopgaps or whenever you're getting kind of up to snuff with your characters, they just can't get the stats that even remotely compete with even cheap options in their slots. These items are best either ignored or thrown at a merchant for gold unless you absolutely need them to fill that slot until you find something better, since even with work and upgrading, they just can't quite make it to the level that uniques, sets, rune words, etc. can get to. Anyway, if you found this to be a useful shopping list for rares and want to see more, hit that like button. If you want to see more details on why a specific item is a must grab or must avoid, ask, and I'll go into more detail, and do look forward to a similar one for magic items, although I'll probably be going after very specific things in that.